Good morning or good day. This is your April 2019 MLS update video. We will be covering probably around 8 different topics and updates and tips to keep you up to speed on what we're working on and what's new in the MLS world. Feel free to pause this and come back to this. One thing we'll kind of start off before we get going is kind of reference the GAR website. We're going to be highlighting a series of different articles and blogs that we have put out in the last couple of weeks. And if you ever want to just find where a lot of these are, we will put the links in the description at the end of this video. You can go up to the news and events section to our blog, and then there's a category, and you can, for example, choose Flex, and you can see this just filters our blogs sorted by most recent date. And actually, 3 of the ones we're going to talk about today are referenced out of here. So it's a quick way to get to our information resources regarding blogs that we put out. But let's go ahead and get started. For the first highlight for April, we wanted to talk a little bit about refresher on listing syndication. We have an article that went out end of March that did include a little animated video to kind of help understand the flow and process of what syndication means. So I encourage you to take a look, read through this article so that you at your office know how your listings get to Zillow maybe differently than the brokerage next door to you who might have a different arrangement. But Zillow is a top topic, as well as Realtor.com, are truly helping understand how you at your own office, listing by listing, control the options to send that to these consumer websites. So I encourage you to take a look at that. We're going to jump over now, just a refresher on coming soon listings. We do have an updated blog and article that talk about the rules on coming soon, some tips on how to enter a coming soon, and kind of an FAQ, answer some questions about that we kind of top calls and emails that we get around that. So for this short refresher, we're just going to go into the Flex system and pretend we're going to add a listing. We're going to start off for residential, skip the address for now, and go right to main fields. So you're doing a coming soon. You would want to change that status at the top to coming soon. And at this point, be very mindful of the dates that you're going to put in. There are 2 dates that are going to start the coming soon and another date that's going to end it and make it go active. And it's just, we are seeing some issues sometimes with putting in incorrect dates, and we will make efforts sometimes to call those agents to fix it that day, or they may call us if they can't find it in the search. So for coming soon, I recommend just clearing out that coming soon end date right away. The system will throw a date in there for you, and it could cause a little confusion. So you just want to be mindful you have up to 14 days in Flex to market this property as coming soon before it will automatically go active. So we can start this by starting with the very first date of entering a listing, the contract date. For the purposes of this exercise, let's just go ahead and put it was April 19th, April 1st. The on-market date is the date that the seller would like to begin the marketing of coming soon. And we're going to select that. Let's just say it's 4/15/19. And now we want to go up to this final coming soon end date and put that end date. So if we want to do a full 14 days, that should be April 29th. And that's really the key pieces on these dates. And then you go through the rest of the information on this listing to submit it. If it's done like this, it'll go coming soon on the 15th. And the 29th, it will go active automatically. If you need to make it active sooner, you can go into your edit status and click Start Showing Make Active. So just a quick refresher, we have some reminders and actually a link to the blog that we have up here for coming soon, just if you need a refresher as you're entering the listing, just to make sure you're putting in the right dates. Okay, let's jump over to another field in the MLS that's called PID. Planned Improvement District. Well, it's a required field on a listing that you have to disclose whether or not it is in a PID, and then disclose that PID amount if it is. So the resources available are linked right on the input form to this article. Actually, it's a dedicated website on GAR. It's pretty easy to remember, gar.com/PIDs. And here you will find a list of the different PIDs in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho, and their resources and documents associated. So the reason for this update, the GAR PID page has been around for a couple of years now, over 4 years. It's just regarding the documents that are on there. We just would like you to be aware that GAR and MLS can't guarantee the accuracy or completeness of these PID documents that you may be using in your own transactions. We do try to work and update these documents out on an annual basis, and take a look at, if we're looking at the boulders right now and you wanted to get the annual budget or notice of information, this should tell you on these dates when it was last updated. This one, November 26, 2018, and this annual budget, it looks like it's from July 2015 still. So it does going to include a note, contact assessor for most recent version. But some of these PIDs are going to have a little bit more recent documents. But for right now, just to point out, the general information sheets that you see are going to be outdated, probably going back to 2014-15. So you may still have to do a little legwork research, maybe contacting either city assessor in Albuquerque or Bernalillo to help track down this information. So bottom line, just we have this resource page up. It is very popular and helpful for our realtor members. Just be mindful of documents. We can't guarantee accuracy or completeness of these. And if you're using documents here that are 4 or 5 years old, I probably recommend you try to get more recent information from the assessor. Okay, let's going to move on now to an update in Flex that occurred really back in January, but it kind of was finalized on April 1st, and it was not an April Fool. And that's the new Flex report. Finally was enabled as the primary default report for all MLS subscribers. And this is the new layout of the report. I have a test listing up so you can see the different boxes and grid now that we have, just to contrast that with the old one. At the top of this detail page, you can switch to the old report here. Just going to pull it up quickly to see. It had the photo on the right, different layout of information. But you can, if you need to use that old one, it's just going to be called Old Report, where the full report is the one that you'll be using. So this is set up for both the client view or public, and it's also set up for private view for the detail. This can also be emailed and printed out as well. One question we're getting is, how do I switch back to the old report? I will show you that right now. It's under your Flex menu. You'll go to your preferences and select general preferences, or even quicker, and to search the menu box, just type in the word general, and you can go right to your preferences. And it's the third option down. Under your private version, the default for listing reports from search results, you can switch it back to the old report and save that, or just keep the current one. If you do continue to want to use the old report or try to change your default back, just be mindful that we aren't going to be making the updates to new fields and changes to the old version. So over a period of months, it will become kind of stale and may not have all of the new updates. But if you have any feedback, requests, we have this report out since January. But if you have any concerns or maybe see something missing that was on the old one, please call or email us. We would love to hear from you and make those changes right away. We are going to jump over now to remind you for April of the GAR Grande open house coming up on the 27th and 28th. Leading up to that time throughout this month, you will be hearing, getting emails and updates, probably in Flex, and seeing signs around GAR when you come in of this great event coming up at the end of April. It is a citywide, and there's going to be a kind of a special deadline that you want to ensure that your open house is added to the Flex listing by Friday, April 26th. Our blog that we have posted on GAR now has some information for you to learn more about that. And and when and where to pick up the balloon open house signs, directional signs, balloons. I think there is still a helium shortage going on, so we won't be able to fill up those balloons with helium for you. But for a quick tip, let's just go to a listing in Flex. In this case, this is our test listing with the bird. And if this was your listing that you either just entered right now or was for sale and you want to add that open house for GAR Grande weekend, this is your edit listing page, and you'll go under scheduled market activities under open house. And this is where you'll click add. And it's a little form you fill out. You're going to enter your date that you want to schedule the open house. If you want to have one on each day of the Grande weekend, you'll want to go ahead and add 2 open houses, 1 for each date. You'll enter your hosted by, phone number, start and end time, and any comments you want, and hit next. And that will show up in the Flex open house search for that time frame. So keep an eye out for reminders on that deadline and the great event coming up for GAR Grande. 3 items left and we'll get you on with your day. A lot of busy stuff. I did indicate that in the beginning. If you used Realtor Property Resource or RPR, there is I wouldn't say it's really new, but there's a different way. They're using a different company called Niche, N-I-C-H-E, for their school information. So if you're in the MLS on a detail report of a listing, you should have those RPR buttons right there, really from any available property. This is a fake address, so I'm not going to be able to pull it up in RPR. So I went through my menu under Products and clicked on RPR from here. And that's what we have up on screen. And I'm just going to pull up the GAR building. It is a commercial property, but it would show you the same information for residential. Okay, so we'll pull up select a property in RPR. And I'm not going to go into too much great of a detail. If you have not used RPR before and this looks new to you, do apologize. I can't go into great depth explaining it, but we do have a lot of classes and training available. I encourage any of you to use RPR. So you pull up a property detail in their system, and on their detail page, if you scroll down, you will find the schools nearby. This was available for many years in RPR, but they are working with a newer company. It's no longer Great Schools, it's Niche. And if we were to click on, let's say, Albuquerque High, we have some school facts, some rankings. We also have reviews. And the interesting thing about these reviews is they are done by students and past alumni about that particular school. So that is available, for the properties in our market for RPR. 2 more left. We're now going to jump over to InfoSparks, which you can access from the Flex menu under Products by clicking on InfoSparks. Now, the features I'm about to show you are not available now, but are most likely going to be coming around in April or early May. So it's a sneak peek of something you can't see yet. Just a teaser. If you're familiar with the InfoSparks, you should recognize the metric buttons at the bottom, like for price, new listings, pending sales, closed. There are 2 new ones going to be added. I'm on a demo staging site just to show you what they will look like. One is called Shows to Pending, which has a median and average. And then one is called Shows per Listing. So it's taking showing time data in a different way and bring that into the market conditions and market data to give you some new metrics that you can take a deep dive into or generate reports for your clients. So I'm sure you're wondering, what does shows to pending mean? What does shows per listing mean? Well, in the showing time or InfoSparks FAQ, it does define here as shows to pending number of showings scheduled per listing that went into pending status during the selected reporting period. For the other one, shows per listing, it's the average number of showings scheduled on active listings for the selected time period. So these will be live in InfoSparks, I would hope sometime in April, probably after you watch this video. And that's the new highlight and change to InfoSparks. we're going to finish up going back to Flex to show you a new feature that allows you to share your listings on social media or Facebook, which you can do this in the Flex Mobile Pro app right now for iTunes or Play Store and Android. But now live on the desktop version, you'll want to pull up this scenario. Let's go ahead and just pretend we're loading up one of your own, you're pulling up one of your own listings you just entered that you're wanting to share on Facebook. If you're sharing someone else's listing that's not at your office, that's a different discussion, and I guess there may be a need for that. But we'll go ahead and pretend this is your listing that we have on the screen. On the detail page, you have a share button at the top right now, next to where it said email, save or print. When you click share, you have the option to share that via email, Twitter, or permalink or Facebook. Now that permalink is very similar to the Facebook link that I'll show you in a moment, but with a permalink, it just generates that quick code that you can actually literally put in a text message or copy and paste into a new Facebook or Instagram post, and it will link to that property as well. You can do this with the Flex mobile app right now, so it's kind of a nice convenience. Primary feature of this, if you want to share on your Facebook page, it's going to bring up the share on Facebook box, probably ask you to log in, and then you write your message, and you can go ahead and post that property, your listing on, and advertise that on Facebook. I'm not going to do that for testing, but that is going to conclude our monthly update, and I thank you all for watching. We'll see you in May.